Hi everyone, this is Dr. Hisham and welcome to my home lab. All day today we've been working with Noor very hard on mixing some very special new products that I would love to test first, and I'm going to test them next week with an independent lab, obviously a virology lab, and I'll tell you more about them later once we get the lab results. But the point of it is we're mixing an all-natural antiviral hand cream as well as a spray, basically a spray for hands, for surfaces, as a sanitization spray that we can make right here in New Zealand that does not disturb your skin like alcohol, disinfectants and all those other strange chemicals that we all keep using these days, and people are running out of them and selling them for $15 and $20 and $30 for just basically 70% alcohol, which denatures the skin. It definitely destroys the microbiome as well. So long-term use basically reduces your defense ability. So I'm mixing these, which will do the opposite. They will actually nurture you and help you get stronger and better while killing the viruses. So it's a way to help us prevent and protect ourselves more and more, rather than be in this state of fear and just confusion, not knowing where to go, what's going to happen, it's coming to get us, things are going to get worse. Well, they don't have to get worse. If we're intelligent about this and intentional about what we do, and we collectively protect ourselves and protect each other, we should be fine. So we do need these products. I'm going to test them first, like I said, before we release them or talk about them in any more detail. Been a long day of work. So what I want to show you now is just how do viruses get killed before they get into the body or before they get into the cells. So I'm not talking about treatment, I'm talking about prevention, preventing the inoculation stage from happening, and also, of course, the transfer stage. When it comes to treatment, I don't do treatment of viruses, obviously, personally, but I know exactly how they should be treated, and I still don't understand why this state of fear and mania is going ahead when we have way more than enough evidence for decades, actually almost a century now, on IV vitamin C and IV ozone. Alternating those two, sometimes even just one by itself, but let's just say alternating each one over a couple of days. I don't know of any virus that could last in the human body with those treatments, and I don't know why they're not being used. So more on that later. I don't do those treatments like I'm saying, and here I'm not talking about treatments, I'm talking about prevention. The transfer, the inoculation, stop that, but also, as with all our products, all healthcare products, everything else, by the way, they all started in a kitchen lab like this. Everything started in a kitchen lab. I made sure I work on my formulations, test them myself, test them with my family. Our daughter, obviously, even when she was a baby, she was our first, one of our first guinea pigs to test our products, and then they go to being properly manufactured later on. So what I'm trying to say here is it will follow the same formulation and the same intent, imagination, and intelligence as I apply to everything, which is natural ingredients, natural to the human body, natural and balancing and inducing physiological process and symbiosis with our microbiome rather than dysbiosis. Because the more you destroy your microbiome with alcohol sanitizers, 70% alcohol, which is most of these sanitizers, which used to be cheap, now they're like $14, $15, and if you even can find them, using that all the time destroys your skin, because alcohol is a denaturing agent for human skin, as well as it causes a dysbiosis. It damages your good microbiome with constant use. They should not be used all the time. However, what else better do we have? And that's what I'm here to answer and what I'm here to make a product for. That helps our symbiosis, helps our physiology work better and make everything better. Again, I can't confirm how well they will work until they get tested by an independent lab on influenza virus and herpes virus, which are very similar. They're both RNA viruses, and they have the virion coating on the outside, just like the coronavirus, basically. So it's all in the same family of RNA viruses. If we can inactivate one and or kill it totally before it infects the human, before it enters the body, enters the cells, shares its RNA with the human cellular RNA, and that's how viruses replicate. Basically, they either share their DNA if they have DNA, or their RNA if they're RNA viruses, with a carrier cell, either a bacterial cell or a human cell, inoculate it, share their RNA or DNA, obviously, their genetic material with it, and take over and make it replicate, make copies of itself for it, and then release more. Once that's happened, that's now we're going to treatment. That's the real infection. It's caught on. Now we're going to the treatment. Like I said, ozone, vitamin C IV, high doses, fantastic for that. I'm talking about the step before that, where how do we stop it from getting through the mucosa, which is in the nose, in the mouth, or other sites of mucosa, or of course cuts in the skin. Stop it from entering the human body and stop it from adhering to the human body and stop transferring it to each other. That's really what we're working on here. And I'll show you a very simple example of how these viruses, which all have this bilipid layer on the outside, that virion bilayer on the outside, how you can inactivate those before they enter the human cells. It's either you're going to use something that is lipid-liking, so lipophilic basically, so something that adheres to the lipid layer and sticks it together and then either injects or makes a reaction with that cell wall, that bilipid layer, either to break it or inactivate the virus from being able to continue its function basically, its metabolism. And of course, the other one is to oxidize them. So this is a super oxidizing agent, oxidizing anything with lipids, so ozone, peroxide, chlorine dioxide, which is what I'm using here. Any of these super oxidizing agents will denature any virus on contact basically, because it breaks the cell wall. So this will be a spray, these will be oils. And the oils carry active ingredients, which I won't go into detail right now about. I'll show you that later. So today, obviously, we don't have live viruses. I'm not going to show you any live viruses. I just want to show you something that will work as a demo, just showing you how this destruction of the stickiness, the adherence of the lipid layer works. These are basil seeds. When you soak basil seeds in water, they soak it up, and the pectin layer, which is a polysaccharide on the outside, becomes like a gel, like a jelly. So it's pectin. It's not a fat actually. It's not a lipid really. It's a polysaccharide, but that's pectin on the outside. Makes it nice and sticky. This is a fantastic prebiotic, probiotic. It's fantastic food, but that's not the point of what this exercise is about. As you can see, it is quite sticky. So it's just been soaked in water. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pour some in here and pour some in there. And into one of them, this one here, I'm going to spray our super oxidizing spray. So imagine you spray it on your hands and you're rubbing it on and all that stuff. Now, the one that has been sprayed on with the oxidant, as you will see, can you come here? So the one that's sprayed on with the oxidant is runny and separated, while this one is still very gelatinous and sticky. You can see the stickiness of this pectin here versus the separation and the liquefaction basically of that sticky substance. Now, as with any community, all living objects have to live in communities to protect each other and work together. Viruses, bacteria, human cells, etc., it's all the same. When things are together, united, we're better. Separated, we're weaker. So one of the first things you want to do is separate them so they don't stick together. That's one of the fundamental methods of breaking down biofilms and destroying biofilms, because biofilms are formed to protect the community basically. So breaking down the biofilm, the adherence and the stickability of the biofilm is one of the first things you do to separate them so that then you can attack them even more. So if this was the virus and suddenly their adherence as a community, as a biofilm, is now separated because they can't stick together, and also they won't be able to stick to the skin, to the mucosa, in your nose, in your mouth, or any other mucosa. That's the very first part, how you destroy them. You don't allow them to proceed further to inoculate the human cells. So I think this shows quite clearly what I'm talking about. Can you do this with soap? Yes, you can. Soap will do something similar to that. Other lipids will do something similar to that as well. However, we don't always have time or access to soap and washing hands when we're out and about. Now, I said this in the other videos and I'll say it again. I'm really shocked and surprised at the intensity and the veracity of the marketing for washing your hands properly these days. I'm like, isn't that pretty standard? Shouldn't that have been pretty standard for all our lives? Like, is a coronavirus one of many types of coronaviruses? This is not the first one, this is just a new one, but we've always had coronaviruses around us, influenza virus and everything else. This is the first time we're trying to protect ourselves against dirt and germs and viruses. Shouldn't this have been standard? And like I said in the other video, ozone water to wash even better and wash through the skin. Anyway, let's say now you know. Let's do it more. Let's wash our hands more with soap and all detergents that don't harm your skin. So that's good. But what about when you can't wash, when you're out and about? Like I said at the beginning of the video, those alcohol sprays and alcohol gels and all these things destroy your skin and destroy your good microbiome. They cause a dysbiosis long term, which weakens you. That makes you even weaker long term with constant use. So we need something that is much kinder to us, that helps our immune system become stronger and our symbiosis with our good microbiome become better, while killing the viruses before we transfer them to each other or other parts of our body, or they penetrate through our mucosa. Our oral care products already have that built into them because a lot of the shared ingredients that I'm using here are for that. But now I'm making products with higher concentrations that we use internally for the outer skin, and some of it you'll be able to apply into the mucosa. Until I see you next time, always think about how can we do better. Rather than be afraid and be scared, be more aware. Don't beware, be aware. If I can't help, who can help? If somebody else can do better, why don't we ask each other, how can we create better solutions for this, rather than just dwell on what the problem is and how much worse it can be and how much worse it can get. Well, how about the question, how much better can it get from here? What can we do together, because together we're always better, to make it better? Not enough good products? Let's create them. Not enough solutions? Let's create solutions. That's how we intentionally evolve as humans. Don't be afraid, don't beware, be aware, work together, be careful, and always aim to look better, feel better, and be better. Thank you.